The next topic will be how artificial intelligence will change diabetes clinical practice. The speaker will be Dr. Amit Kumar, who is a consultant diabetologist and holds membership in several esteemed organizations. The chairperson will be Dr. Guru Prasad Bhattacharya and Dr. Supratik Bhattacharya.
So Dr. Amit is my very dear friend and brother, and he has extensive experience in using AI when it comes to regular, not only in clinical practice, but overall. So none better than Dr. Amit to speak on this particular topic. And he has his own association. It's called the Doctors AI. And I'm sure Amit is going to talk a little bit more on that. And we are looking forward to hearing from you. So over to you, Amit.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can I have the slides of this come up? No, this is, yeah, thank you. So what I'm going to do over the next 20 to 25 minutes is give you an overview about how AI is going to change the diabetes clinical practice. And when I say this, I mean that today, I don't mean future. This is what's happening. This is what we've been doing. A lot of research is going on beyond this, and we're continuing to work on it. And I'll give you an introduction to something called generative AI, which has been very powerful towards improving the concept of precision diabetology. So I have no financial disclosures to make, but I'll be talking about a lot of proprietorship properties, which are solely for the purpose of illustration and does not mean any endorsement. And yes, a lot of artificial intelligence has also been used in preparing this presentation. So before I start, I'll ask everyone to keep your mobile phones handy. I'm sure we are all using an Android phone or an Apple phone, and just keep the QR scanner in your phone, so that'll really make things a little bit exciting for you. So if you look at the whole spectrum of artificial intelligence, you will find a lot of application of AI in personalized treatment, which is precision care. In virtual health assistant, this is where generative AI is being used. And we are using a lot of AI in radiology, in medical diagnosis, in predictive analytics using machine learning, drug discovery. A lot of AI is being used through robotics in treatment optimization, and telemedicine will also be enhanced using remote AI monitoring. The thing that we need to understand about that, which stage of artificial intelligence are we in? So we are predominantly in the narrow AI phase, which is the phase of machine learning, where the machine is explicitly programmed and trained on performing a certain specific areas of task. We are somewhere in between artificial narrow intelligence and artificial general intelligence, and probably in the next 3 to 5 years, we will be evolving towards artificial general intelligence, where the computer is going to be as smart as the human across the board. So if you want to look at the evolution of artificial intelligence, AI is not new. It's been there for a long, long time. Since 1950, Alan Turing was the first person who proposed the test called Turing test, and John McCarthy in 1957 was the person who termed the coin artificial intelligence. And since then, there's been an evolution of artificial intelligence with the development of deep learning, machine learning, and then in 2022, generative AI was made open to the public by OpenAI, which is more commonly known as ChatGPT, which I'm sure most of us have heard about it. So where does this whole spectrum of artificial intelligence fit? What about these terms that I'm talking about, ML, machine learning, or deep learning? So if you look at the whole spectrum of AI, a part of AI is machine learning, which is basically reasoning and learning from a huge set of data and giving you some kind of a predictive analytics. A part of machine learning is deep learning, which is kind of mimicking the neural networks which is there in our brain. And a part of deep learning is generative AI, and this is where your ChatGPT fits in, which we are often using, and I'll give you an example how it can be used to improve patient care in diabetes management. So what do we mean exactly by generative AI? Generative AI means artificial intelligence which is capable of generating a text, an image, or any other media in response to an instruction which I'm giving, and that instruction is called prompting. And this is very, very important because it's a whole science. It's called prompt engineering, and if we don't give the right prompt, then we will end up hallucinating the system, and it's called artificial intelligence hallucination. And we do not want that in the field of medicine. So what exactly happens in generative AI? On your left side, you can see you have got the data, which is the text, it could be in the form of images, it could be in the form of speech, it could be in the form of structured data or 3D signals. And then it runs through a set of foundation model, which is also called a transformer model. Now, the larger the transformer model is, the bigger the data set on which it is built, the stronger is the response. And so is the response of ChatGPT that you get. And eventually you get the response in the form of sentiment analysis, information extraction, image captioning, object recognition. And all this together is done with the help of something called NLP, or natural language processing. What does it mean? In simple terms, you speak to the computer in your language, the computer converts it into its binary codes, but gives you the response back in your own language. That makes the use of AI and machine learning much more adaptive towards the human being and in all spectrum of applications. So now I have a question to all of you here. Do we all identify that these are the most common challenges that we face in diabetes and metabolic care? We often learn these things from our clinics and in our conferences, but there's always a limitation between what we practice and between what we learn and what we practice. So there's always a gap. And can these gaps, my question to all of you is, can these gaps be actually filled up by artificial intelligence? So let's see if we can address some of these challenges like early disease detection, medication adherence, lifestyle challenges, monitoring glucose, and cost of care and education gap can be addressed with artificial intelligence. Before we go on to that aspect, let's try to understand that why even we should think about using artificial intelligence. Well, the reason is very simple. You look at this iceberg here. All that we've been dealing and talking about since morning, even in this conference today, is just the tip of the iceberg. And that is evidence-based medicine. So with artificial intelligence, we are looking at an era, and that's coming very, very soon. It's already there, and we are getting into that phase of data-driven, intelligence-based precision medicine. And that covers the whole of this iceberg, the part of it that we have been missing so far. All that we have been dealing on is the tip of the iceberg, the evidence-based medicine, but the whole data-driven medicine has been missing out because we do not have access to the data, we do not have visualization on the data, and the intelligence that it carries can give us a lot of insights into what we learn and what we practice in the real world. So to simplify this is a simple reason why we need to use AI and learn about AI. It will help us see what we have been actually missing. Now let's get into the use of AI in diabetes management. Look at the 6 blocks which comes on your screen. You will be finding a lot of application of AI in disease prediction and risk stratification. You will be finding the use of AI in diabetes self-management education in generative AI chatbots. I'll give you an example of that. There's a lot of use of AI in insulin pumps, in retinopathy screening, in foot ulcer monitoring, as well as in clinical decision support system. And this is going to be a very important step towards precision diabetes care. So you find the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning in disease predictions and risk stratification through various machine learning algorithms like support vector mechanism, logistic regression, which is done using data mining from the electronic health record. This is being done in most Western countries, and now with the ABHA and the ABDM compliance coming into our country as well, we will be having a lot of predictive models based upon our electronic health records. If you can look at some literatures, well, what I'm speaking is pure science, and you can see there is so much of publications which are there that is looking at using artificial intelligence algorithms like machine learning in predicting the risk of early detection of diabetes by logistic regression or predicting cardiovascular and stroke risk stratification in individuals with diabetic foot infections. And these are just 2 examples of literature that you find in the space. What about the virtual chatbots? We have seen from the Look Ahead trial that using machine learning to reanalyze that data, and it confirmed that type 2 diabetes can benefit from intensive lifestyle monitoring. How does this happen? Because this is based on something called just-in-time adaptive intervention, which means if you hit the patient with the right information at the right point of time, then it brings in a behavioral modification in that individual. And this behavioral modification will go a long way in bringing the clinical outcome or the improving the compliance of that individual. So this is the whole concept beyond using AI in the chatbots. There's another thing which happens, which is being used and please keep a close lookout on this, is the phase of digital twin. We have the twin health, and it means creating a digital replica of a physical being to simulate and optimize the process. This technology has been used and is being used in the field of aerospace, in the field of electronics. Now this is also being used in the field of healthcare. You are using it predominantly in nutrition. Very soon we can also have digital twinning and giving you pharmacogenomic response of an individual. These are some of the studies which are looking at the human digital twin framework in elderly type 2 diabetes patients. So this is a lot, taking ourselves a lot towards the precision diabetology that we really think of and we dream of. And you could see some of the publications which are already being done by Dr. Banshi Sabu, Dr. Jyoti Dev, Dr. Shashank Joshi, and all of them are working on this concept of digital twin. The other space of use of artificial intelligence is the insulin pump, and one of the most popular insulin pump, in fact the only one which is available in India, is the Minimate 780G, and this has AI-driven adjustments, AI-driven meal detection, which gives the user enhanced experience, and it has got auto-bolus adjustments using the AI algorithm. So it works through a PID algorithm, proportional integrative derivative algorithm, and that gets regulated by the AI machine learning algorithm. So with insulin pump like a Minimate 780G, you can get a time in range like 100% in a patient, and this is something that was beyond imagination in the earlier days, but that's how precision medicine can get you there. There is another FDA-approved insulin pump called the iLet Beta Bionic Pancreas, which has also been approved by the FDA for automated insulin dosing and simplified mealtime management using the artificial intelligence algorithm. The most important part of all these tools are they have to be easy to use. The user interface has to be very good so that the patient does not feel any complexity when they're using it. You find AI-driven diabetes management in tools like Gluco, Blue Loop, and Medtronic's Guardian Connect, which can also predict hypoglycemia. So you have the continuous glucose monitoring at the same time giving a prediction that how quickly the blood glucose level can go down in the individual, giving an alarm to the patient, thereby again harping on that point of just-in-time timely adaptation to bring that behavioral change and modification in that individual. What about diabetic retinopathy? In April 2018, the US FDA approved an AI algorithm which was developed by IDX with the use of the Topcon fundus camera for diabetic retinopathy detection. And since then, we've been using deep neural network to screen for diabetic retinopathy. So what happens here? It looks like a 5-minute test. You capture, you analyze, and you get the report generated. But what exactly happens? There is a stage of data gathering. From the stage of data gathering, the whole data set is trained and it is learned through deep learning models and machine learning models. Then the individual disease points are annotated and labeled. So for example, if it's a dot hemorrhage, it's a blot hemorrhage, it's labeled 1-to-1, they are mapped, and that's how it gives the prediction. And then it's learned through our multiple layers of iterations, which is the neural networks. Now, more the number of layers of iterations, the better is the sensitivity and the specificity of the output. And then finally, you get the whole result in terms of prediction of non-proliferative, mild, moderate, or severe, or a sight-threatening proliferative diabetic retinopathy. So does it work? We did a couple of studies across the last 3-4 years. This is where we checked the sensitivity of these models, and we found that they are fantastic. And this was one of a large sample study that we did in Chandni Chowk in Kolkata here, and we found the prevalence of diabetic retinopathy in the community to be 13.7%. It was a community screening we did on 5,000 patients, and this was published in ATDD a couple of years back. What about use of artificial intelligence in diabetic foot? You have the smartphone-enabled cameras in which you can take the image of the foot ulcer or the lesion, and based on thermal imaging, you can get a prediction as to how quickly that ulcer can deteriorate, how quickly it is healing, or even the thermal imaging can predict that how bad that condition can deteriorate. The foot can develop a new onset ulcers. So these kind of smart insoles, which will pick up the pressure points and the walking gait pattern of the individual, can be also used using artificial intelligence. This was one of our paper that we looked at and we published in the Diabetes Care Journal of IDF, where we looked at the whole technology of using AI in diabetic foot ulcers. The another aspect that I want to highlight to all of you is the use of artificial intelligence in improving glycemic control in the individuals by clinical decision support system. And there is an FDA-approved algorithm which is called DRIA-MED. It has been for the first time, an algorithm has been cleared for the treatment of type 1 and type 2 diabetes based on an AI-based clinical decision support system. So it completely closes the loop. It takes the information from the continuous glucose monitoring, the insulin pump, it feeds into the providers, the healthcare providers, the doctors, the educators. They're all in the loop when this decision is being taken, and all the parameters of the patients are being taken into consideration. So now can we use in our own day-to-day practice? This is what's been happening around us. We don't have access to most of it, but can we start using artificial intelligence in our day-to-day practice? So this is where your mobile phone starts coming out and you start taking some snapshots. So let's try to understand. We can use ChatGPT-like tool for education, reminders, assistance in monitoring, in mental support, in treatment clarification, and I'll show you how, in exercise recommendations, and a lot more things. We've been using ChatGPT for diabetes self-management education, which I believe is the most cornerstone in diabetes management, and you can create a lot of instant responses and resource directions and guidance to the patient with the help of generative AI tools like ChatGPT. You can provide mental health support with anonymity and comfort. That is a very, very important aspect. You can have ChatGPT integrated with the wearables, so your wearables can start talking, and that will give a complete different user experience to the patient with the help of generative AI. We might even have glucometers talking to the patient with the help of generative AI, and that is absolutely possible using natural language processing. Training and support for diabetes educators, doctors, and healthcare providers, so continuous learning. So we are also training doctors how to create PowerPoint presentations using ChatGPT, and create PowerPoint presentation using various other tools. So these creativities can be quite enhanced using generative artificial intelligence, and along with that, you can have public engagement and feedback with interactive surveys and community engagement. Now let's give you some hands-on experience of how you could use ChatGPT. This is an example of a LibrePro graph. In the earlier days of ChatGPT, we have used this for analyzing that whole data, and it will give you some kind of a mean, median, and standard deviation of the data. So that was quite helpful. Take a look at this continuous glucose monitoring graph of a patient. You can see the controls are all over the place. This is the ambulatory glucose profile of this patient. We have developed a custom ChatGPT that you all can use if you're using the ChatGPT 4. I'm going to give you the QR code right after this. And when you put this whole graph into this custom GPT, it gives you the whole summary of the continuous glucose monitoring graph. Now, why is this important? For a doctor, well, you might be able to interpret it, but when you are a diabetes educator or a healthcare provider, this might be very, very useful for them, or even a patient can find this interpretation much useful in taking decision. So this is the QR code. You want to access it, and if this is for paid users of ChatGPT, you just have to take a photograph, scan the QR code later, keep it with you. This has been trained on 200 continuous glucose monitoring graph. It has been custom trained to give you the whole response of the continuous glucose monitoring graph. So if you're interested to see how ChatGPT can actually really impact diabetes care, this is a free-to-access paper we published last year in 2023 that looks at the whole spectrum of what I just spoke about, the use of GPT in diabetes care, and you can read this paper by scanning the QR code. This is a paper that is still in press. It will be published next week. But the reason I'm showing this paper is because this is the first paper from India that we have used artificial intelligence to do the data analytics, and we have also acknowledged the use of artificial intelligence in publishing this paper. So this paper looks at continuous glucose monitoring in the impact of glycemic control and lifestyle changes in the individuals. It's an original study conducted across 3 centers across India, and this is where we have acknowledged the use of tools like GPT and various other tools for data analytics and paper writing. Let me give you an introduction to something we have built over the last 6 months. It's called Madhu AI. It's quite popular across the globe now. This is a very simple to use chatbot. This has been trained on a large language model, GPT being one of the models that has been trained on. This gives you access to artificial intelligence right on your WhatsApp. So what you need to do now is scan the QR code. You will be getting straight away an access to our website for Madhu, fimblefits.com. And then as you go there, you have to just tap on something called Madhu, Talk to Madhu, and I will show you how you can use it. The good part about Madhu AI is we have been trained This model has been validated and evaluated by 100 doctors across the country. So the responses that you will get has been a validated response. So this is a chatbot which will help patient learn about diabetes. It's a patient education chatbot, so you can feel free to give this to your patients. Let me show you this example in this video. So once you go and tap on Hi Madhu, it takes you to a chatbot, and then you give an auto prompt called Hi Madhu, and after that, you start writing a question to Madhu saying that I'm a type 1 diabetes. For 10 years, do I have the risk of developing complications associated with diabetes? And you will see that it will give you a completely fantastic response, just the way a diabetes educator or a patient, just the way a diabetes educator should be educating that patient. But the important thing is this is also available in all regional languages, so patient can use it in Bengali, Hindi, or any other languages. The next important part I want to show you about Madhu is you can use this for analyzing prescriptions and reports. Take a look at this. We uploaded one of my patient's prescription here to Madhu, and look what happens here. So what it does is that it completely breaks down the whole prescription, gives me the dosing, and it also tells me the indication for each drug. So there goes the pill mixing problem that Supratik was talking about. Patient taking a dapagliflozin and empagliflozin, one prescribed by a cardiologist and one prescribed by an endocrinologist, right? That's the most common. Pill mixing is the most common problem, and this can be solved. Now you might ask me that patient would not be able to understand English, so can we get this in the regional language? So you write that to Madhu, and it will convert that into the Bengali language, and you will get the whole response of the chatbot coming in the Bengali language. So I'll just take a couple of more minutes before I end. So try this out. This will be very, very useful. You can try it out yourself. This is a part that you can try it out yourself. Lot part of it is free. Of course, it uses a lot of tokens, so sometimes it has to be subscribed, but try it out. And we are working on Madhu in a long way across the globe. In fact, we are trying to do some work with IDF as well. And this is the president of IDF. I was speaking about Madhu a few days back at ESD, and I think Dr. Supratik was also there in that meeting. And so people are looking about building tools like this across the globe. So, well, we have to use AI ethically, mitigating oil bias, using a diverse data set of inclusion, but the AI operations must be transparent, and most importantly, it has to be patient-centric. But there has to be a lot of guidelines and regulations, and data privacy regulation is the need of the hour, which needs to be established. These are some of the guidelines which are there worldwide. Some Indian guidelines are also coming up, and it has already been laid down, especially by the Disha and the DPDR Act has been laying down some guidelines here in India. So I will leave you all with this question that are we all ready? It's not a Star Trek movie I showed, it's a reality. So are we all ready for this AI revolution in healthcare? In the morning when I came back home and I was making this presentation, my daughter came and said that you're making one more AI presentation. So she crept into my computer and she drew this robot and she said, you need to present this today. So this was actually drawn by my daughter in the morning. So I thought that let this be the robot symbol that are we ready for the AI revolution in healthcare. So with this concept, I would like to introduce you to our community called the Doctors AI Community. It's a global community. There's more than 2,000 doctors connected across the globe. And we do a lot of activities like podcasts. This is the LinkedIn Connect to Doctors AI. If you're on WhatsApp, you want to join us, please scan this QR code. You will get access to the whole community. We have 700 members across the community. And we do a lot of discussions and activities on educating healthcare professionals on how to use AI in day-to-day practice. So age is no bar. We have people from medical students to the most senior clinicians across the spectrum at Doctors AI. With this, I would like to invite all of you to join us at the virtual global summit that we will be having of Doctors AI. This will be having global speakers, and this will be on 14th and 15th of December. The early bird registration is on, and it's only $4.99 for doctors. So please scan this QR code and register for this event by tomorrow, because tomorrow is the last date for the early bird registration. And if you're working in AI, probably most of you would not have started yet, but if you intend to submit an abstract, then this is the QR code to scan and submit an abstract for the summit. So this is the one for registration. Thank you very much.
So I think that was fantastic. I think we're running a little short of time. So I think the most commonly asked question is AI going to replace doctors? And I think the most commonly common response that we get is that those doctors who are using AI are going to replace those who are not going to use AI. AI in general is probably not going to replace doctors, but those who are on board and using technology are eventually going to replace those who are not on board with technology. Your final words.
Yeah, so I think that is the point to be made, that AI is here as your most friendly assistant. It's not here to replace you. It's a technology that we have to tame. We have to ask the question, how is it working? Where it needs to be used, how it needs to be used. There has to be explainability at every level. There has to be science at every level. Medical science has evolved over reasoning. We have been dealing with evidence-based medicine. Let's put more data into it, more intelligence into it, and let's move into a phase of precision medicine. That does not make us extinct, just there is going to be a role play change of clinicians, and that is going to augment your performance. So at the end of the day, we call it augmented intelligence. That is artificial intelligence plus human intelligence leading to augmented intelligence, and that is all towards a more patient-centric, better care. I think that's what we are all calling for.
With this, we come to an end of this wonderful speech. I'd like to invite Dr. Guru Prasad to facilitate the speaker and the moderator with these mementos. Na-